Reynolds on 101.9, 100.5, 1450, WGNSSports.com, and BigGTV.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by the Law Offices of John Day, providing superior legal representation to injury victims and their families. Find out more at johndaylegal.com. And welcome back to the show. And now we welcome in Rockville head coach James Counce. How are you doing this morning, Coach?
Doing good. Good morning.
It was a real hard-fought game last night, rivalry game with the Riverdale Warriors, and it fell just a little bit short, 28-14, but a really good contest last night.
Yeah, it was a great game, great atmosphere, and you know, his kids and coaches did a great job. You know, played them down, you know, to the end there, and they just made one more play than we did. But you know, I'm proud of the kids. You know, just wanted to get a win like that for these young men that have you know, bought in and doing the things that we're asking them to do, and just wanted them to get the win so bad. But anyway, we're making strides and you know, getting better each week, and just gotta keep working.
Yeah, and it's you can. I mean, I think you're one of the most improved teams as we've started this season all the way through till now, and you know, you're going into week 10 and you control your own destiny. You have a chance to be in the playoffs, and you just have to go out there and win a game next Friday night.
Yeah, you know, that's easier said than done sometimes, but you know, we can you know, if we go win next Friday, yeah, we can get in, and you know, and that's going to be our game plan, you know, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to get started and you know, and put the best plan together, and hopefully that you know, we've talked about it all year about playing a complete game, and last night was very close. You know, a couple moments in the first half, and then a couple in the second half, but a lot better. And then, you know, and that's what we'll continue to do. We're going to go to work and give these young men everything we got as coaches, and put the best plan together that we can come up with, and go play the game. You know, that's why we go play.
And that's what you asked for. You know, last night the weather turned a little bit cool, and it's football weather. You know, it's football playoff weather right here. Now, and I know this last night
was great.
It was, wasn't it, Coach?
Oh, it was beautiful. Beautiful Friday night.
And I was going to ask you, you know, it was your first taste of the Rockville-Riverdale rivalry game, and you talked about how great the atmosphere was, and, you know, I've been able to experience that 4 or 5 times myself. It's always a great atmosphere, and I know it was another one last night, and I know the Rockville Rocket fans were out there last night.
Oh, we had a full, you know, stadium was full. Riverdale brought a great fan you know, the band and student section, and you know, and then we had senior night on top of that, so probably had some parents with and grandparents that may not come every game, but you know, we had a great atmosphere, and it's been like that all year, you know, and they've done a great job. Kids are excited about what's going on and want to come to the games, and you know, and we had another good one, and the atmosphere, I felt like, you know, every week, you know, playing in this league up here, and you know, it's exciting each week. You know, it's you know, and that's fun. That's fun for the kids, fun for us coaches to, you know, to be able to, you know, that's what you want, you know, and it just makes it you know, fun for the kids, and that's what it's all about.
It really is. And talk a little about some of your guys from last night. You know, quarterback Jonathan Hamby, another good solid game for him last night. And, you know, he's really developed as the season's gone on for you, and really been a good leader for you.
He has. You know, I'm sure there was a couple plays last night he'd like to have back, and you know, that's just the card that we're dealt. But, you know, he's a competitor. His teammates trust him, you know, and you know, he leads us each week, and you know, and he's getting a little more healthy now, and we can get where he can move around, and you know, he had a great game. Dallas Paldo had a great game. Melvin Boone had three sacks. Also ran the football, and Judd Bingham and Ryland Hodges and RC and all those guys had played a great game, and proud for them and I just want it for the kids so bad, they've worked hard and I just want them to get paid, but they're competitors.
Yeah, they really are, and we're going to make Dallas Palado, Jonathan Hamby, and Melvin Boone our SRM Concrete Solid Performers, locally grown, nationally known SRM Concrete. And I want to get into one of the guys you mentioned just a minute ago, Dallas Palado, who I've seen grow up over the years, and I'm really, really proud of him as a person, and had 7 catches for you last night and a sack, and I know he's just been a solid player for you this year.
He has. He's a very versatile guy. He's big enough to play inside, but he's also athletic enough to be able to be out. He got super great hands, and he's a big body guy. I mean, he just makes catches that, it's just like wow. He's just one of those kind of guys. He's a gamer. And he plays extremely hard, and and he got a high ceiling, and I think that he, I don't know where he'll land, but I know he's a good defensive lineman, and he's also a very good tight end. So, but Pardo he's playing great.
Yeah, I'm really, really proud of the kid. He's really done great for you this year. And you mentioned Melvin Boone, another kid that has been a big piece for you this year. You talked about the 3 sacks and also had a touchdown run last night. And another piece that you've been building your program around.
Yeah, he got an offer the other day from Carson Newman, and Melvin is a kid, that works extremely hard. And I mean, like when we go to practice, he runs to the field. He's just a guy that. That he works so hard and does things the right way that you want him to see success so bad, and he's I'm telling you, he's a strong kid. Whoever gets this young man to come play at their college, their football team will be better just because he walked in the door. And he is a super young man. And he plays hard as you look at it, there are people holding him. They got 2 people on him, and he still gets back there. And just like on that fumble, he was in, and of course the guy was 15 yards, 20 yards in front of him, but he freaking sprinted and gave everything he had. There wasn't no question that he just couldn't catch him. But now he's a super competitor, and he embodies everything that our standards of our program, and that's Melvin, and he's a superstar.
He really is, and really proud for the kid. And let's talk about what you got coming up this week, Coach. And another big rivalry game, Rockville and Blackman. Another great atmosphere that you're going to have at your place on Thursday night. A little bit different playing on Thursday. And honestly, you get into Week 10, everything on the line in your place. You really couldn't have asked for anything more going into the season.
Just want a chance, and we've got that. It's actually at Blackman.
Okay.
So we'll be over there, and yeah, it's a short week. A lot of things to get ready in a short week. It kind of bumps everything up, but we're gonna get us a game plan. They're a very talented ball club, and big up front and receivers and DBs and good on the back end and all those things. So. We're going to continue to get better, work on us, and put us a game plan together and go over there and give them everything we got, and just kind of see where we end up. But, that's all we were asking. We just want a chance and have ourselves in a situation, and wish we'd took a little better care of it earlier on. But anyway, that's the card we got, and that's what we're going to play with.
Yeah, Coach, I was just going to ask you, you've been now got one more game to go, and, how do you compare this region to where you were at Henry County in the past? And, I mean, they've called this region the SEC of high school football for a reason. Every night's a battle. But, almost now through the first year, how would you compare it to what you've been through?
I would, what I would say about it compared to what I'm used to is the consistency from top to bottom is what I would say is a difference in a lot of different in other regions. The level of competition week in and week out. The region that I was in, we had your upper tier of teams, and then you would have, your drop off. And so the consistency of, competitive play by everybody, I think, is a big thing. Of course, you good 5A that can compete with 6A. The thing is, can they compete with 6A week in, week out? I played 6A schools when I was at Henry County, but it wasn't week in, week out. So, to have the longevity, to work through the injuries, to have the depth, to do all those kind of things, that's what makes it difficult. The speed of the game is faster, and you consistently have to play at that speed. So, I think, the level of competition from the first team ranked number one in the region to the last team, I think there's the consistency there would be the difference in a lot of other regions.
Well, I appreciate it, Coach, and good luck next week. And we really wish you good luck as the rest of the way.
Well, we appreciate you guys, and we've gotten better, and I hadn't been here but since January, and people are talking about how we've come a long way, and can tell, and I just gonna try to pour everything into these kids that we got and finish this up and see what we got. So we appreciate you guys.
All right, Coach. Good luck. That was Rockville head coach James Counce. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, TOA, the largest and most comprehensive orthopedic surgery group in Middle Tennessee. Find out more at TOA.com.